नमस्कार, जय हिंद, जय भारत एंड वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स। दिस इज आदि अचिंत। फर्स्टली सबसे पहले मैं आपको बोलूं कि मेरे साथ हैं वाइस एडमिरल शेखर सिन्हा, जो हमको एक डिफरेंट एंगल बताएंगे ऑपरेशन सिंदूर का। ऑफ कोर्स हमने नेवी के ऑपरेशंस के बारे में स्टोरी सुनी है, बट हम इसको थोड़ा सा आगे लेके जाएंगे, क्योंकि देखिए सबसे बड़ा पार्टनर जो पाकिस्तान का है वो है चाइना। चाइना का थ्रेट आपके नॉर्दर्न बॉर्डर्स पे तो है, बट वो एक थ्रेट आपको रखता है सो दैट यू डोंट फोकस इन टूवर्ड्स द ओशन, और इसके बारे में हमने काफी बात करी है। लेट्स फोकस ऑन द ओशन एंड देखते हैं वहां से क्या सीखने को मिलता है। हाउ कैन वी पुश बैक चाइना ओवर देयर एज वेल। सर, थैंक यू सो मच। नमस्कार, वेलकम टू द शो।
Namaskar, Adji, and thank you very much for having me on your show. And look forward to interacting with you even more frequently.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच। सर, सो मेरा जो प्रेमाइस था कि चाइना आपको बिजी रखता है नॉर्दर्न बॉर्डर्स पे सो दैट ओशंस के ऊपर, विच इज हिज लाइफ लाइन, उसके ऊपर उसका थोड़ा सा कंट्रोल रहे। फर्स्टली, व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट दैट सर?
देखिए, पहली बात तो ये है दैट बॉर्डर्स पे बिजी रखता है बिकॉज ही इज विजिबल, और यू कैन सी हिम थ्रू UAVs, you can see him through various human locating radar. But the Navy is a invisible and very silent service. Once we get out of the harbor, not many people know where we have gone. Also, the Navy does not have any borders, whereas the Army and Air Force, they operate within the binds of the international border, LOC, line of actual control. You can call it by any name. Basically, it's a border
सर,
beyond which crossing is a taboo. Not taboo; it has to be express permission, and now we have become a little more aggressive, which we should have become long back. Whereas at sea, your rule, the law of the land applies only up to 12 nautical miles, which is about less than 24 kilometers. So beyond that, your rule does not apply. It's an open sea, and sea is what is called. It is free for global commons. It is free for all, except that there is another demarcation called contiguous zone, which is 24 nautical miles, roughly about 40-45 kilometers. In the contiguous zone, the warships have to inform the host country or the coastal country, as we call it, and the submarines of any other country cannot go dived. They have to be on surface and flying the flag of that country.
बताना पड़ता है। ओके सर।
If they don't, then the law, the UNCLOS, United Nations Convention for Laws of the Sea, it permits you to force that submarine to surface. Otherwise, you can take a provocative action. How it is done, that's a different subject. Anyway, so what happens is that China has got great interest in the Indian Ocean. Almost 70-80% of its oil actually travels still through the Indian Ocean. Most of it from the Gulf, and then some from South America, and some from the coast of Africa. So they all have to traverse through this route, and they have to get out of Malacca Strait. And Hu Jintao, many years ago, he had said that China has a Malacca dilemma, which you must have heard from many of our naval colleagues. And to overcome that Malacca dilemma, whatever China is doing, port in, Chapku in Myanmar, or action in Chittagong, pipeline from Kazakhstan, pipeline from Iran, and
रशिया।
now from Gwadar. Whatever he's doing, he's reducing his vulnerability from transiting through Malacca Strait. Because China knows that in case of tension, and a time will come when he will be nearly in direct conflict with the United States of America, and India is a partner country of USA. Between these two countries, most of when the trade war starts, the navies normally indulge in trade war. So, because one-to-one fighting is normally hota nahi hai. So they know that between US and India, they will not allow their oil supplies to reach. And regrettably, for all the countries who are economically doing better, they are not self-dependent on oil. They have to import. You take China, you take India, you take Japan, you take South Korea. All of them are net sorry, all of them are net oil importing country. ये सब दूसरे देशों से ऑयल मंगाते हैं. तो वल्नरेबिलिटी तो है, ऐसा नहीं हम भी वल्नरेबल हैं, हमारा भी वैसा ही है, हमारा भी वल्नरेबिलिटी है. हम तो ये जब गल्फ, पर्शियन गल्फ, अरेबियन गल्फ जो कह लीजिए, व्हेन वी कम आउट, तो वो इट इज़ वल्नरेबल टू पाकिस्तानी इंटरडिक्शन, because they can right at the mouth of the Straits of Hormuz, they can interdict you. And now that the Chinese are there in Gwadar and also trying to get hold of a port called Zesk, which is outside the Straits of Hormuz, and it is in Iran. तो ये उन्होंने क्या कर रखा है, दैट इज़ वाई दे हैव बिल्ट अ स्फीयर ऑफ इन्फ्लुएंस अराउंड इंडिया, स्ट्रिंग ऑफ पर्ल्स भी बोलते हैं उसको. तो इन्होंने क्या किया है कि हमारे जितने पड़ोसी देश हैं उनको इन्होंने फाइनेंशियल ल्योरमेंट दी है, उनको अपनी तरफ अट्रैक्ट किया है कि हम आपको पैसे देंगे, आपका डेवलपमेंट करेंगे, और आप जो है हमसे दोस्ती कीजिए. तो वो देश जो है, दे हैव ऑब्वियसली, दे आर वेरी स्मॉल कंट्रीज हमारे जितने नेबरहुड में हैं, एंड दे ऑलवेज शॉर्ट ऑफ मनी. सो दे हैव फॉलन फॉर दैट, दे हैव टेकन द लोन. और उन कंट्रीज में आप देखिएगा डेवलपमेंट, तो आप अमेज्ड हो जाएंगे कि कितना चाइना ने किया है उन सब देशों में. तो दे आर क्वाइट इंडेटेड. लेट्स गिव डेविल द ड्यू. उन्होंने काम किया है, लेकिन वो जो पैसे जो वापस करने हैं वो थोड़ा मुश्किल है उनके लिए. जैसे आपने देखा श्रीलंका के साथ क्या हुआ, मालदीव्स के साथ क्या हो रहा है. अ सिमिलर थिंग विल हैपन टू बांग्लादेश. पाकिस्तान, मैं तो उसको इंडेटेड है. पाकिस्तान एक इंडिपेंडेंट कंट्री नहीं रह गया है. मैं पाकिस्तान का नॉमेनक्लेचर कर दिया है मैंने अपनी राइटिंग्स में, द पाकिस्तान ऑटोनोमस रीजन ऑफ चाइना. It's not even a vassal state. It is an autonomous region of China. You see, there is a continuity contiguous to the land of China, through the Karakoram Pass and Gilgit-Baltistan. And the China always strengthens its periphery so that the main Han population is safe. Right from beginning. If you see the original map of China,
concentric circles and this
आप
and that.
देखेंगे कि थोड़ा रेड पोर्शन इतना ही था जो कि अब इतना बड़ा हो गया. इनर मंगोलिया ले लीजिए, तिब्बत ले लीजिए, शिनजांग ले लीजिए, दे आर ऑल हैव बीन ऑक्यूपाइड. आई मीन दे हैव बीन टेकन.
यूनान, मंचूरिया, बहुत सारी हैं सर.
तो वो वही चीज़ें कर रहे हैं हमारे यहाँ, काफ़ी दिन से कर रहे हैं, करीब 10-12 साल से. वी आर अवेयर ऑफ दिस. तो इसकी वजह से क्या हो गया, नॉट दैट ही विल पार्टिसिपेट डायरेक्टली इन अ वॉर अगेंस्ट इंडिया. ये चाइना के फेवर में नहीं है, क्योंकि वो जानते हैं कि इंडियन ओशन में दे आर ऑन अ वीक विकेट. आप बाहर से आके समंदर की लड़ाई नहीं लड़ सकते हैं जो हमारे बैकयार्ड में है. दूसरा ये है कि हमारा जो भारतवर्ष की जो नेवी है, इट्स ए वेरी स्ट्रांग नेवी. और इंडियन ओशन में जो रेसिडेंट पावर्स जितने हैं, टू चैलेंज इंडियन नेवी अभी मेरे ख्याल से काफ़ी टेढ़ी खीर है. इट्स नॉट पॉसिबल, बिकॉज राइट फ्रॉम post independence, the naval planners realized that the government of India will be short of funds and they will not be able to buy all these items, import all these items, which are generally very expensive as far as ships and aircraft are concerned. So the naval hierarchy decided that we will make our own ships. And that is why the defense PSUs, shipyard PSUs, they gave a understanding to the government that we will start building our own ships, permit a naval officer, senior naval officer, to be appointed as the CMD so that he understands the nuances. And that happened. From MDL ले लीजिए, GRC ले, वहाँ नेवी के ऑफिसर ही जनरली होते हैं. कभी कभार एब्रेशंस भी हुई है, but we generally used to we used to make one of our very senior technical officers to take early retirement and put them there as CMD, so that they understood they had a direct connection with the naval headquarters. Also, we developed a mechanism called the Warship Overseeing Team. We started our own design bureau. We have our naval design bureau. These are our architect, naval architects in uniform.
Hmm.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I see.
तो ये लोग जो है ये सुपरवाइज करते हैं एंड वी पोस्ट देम and other specialist officers, electrical engineer, they remain in the yard, and we can talk about it later. But let me get back to your question before I digress. So, China is just like the army and the air force of Pakistan. They are arming the navy much more potent.
Hmm.
For example, three frigate stroke destroyers already with already with Pakistan. Two are already there. 8 submarines.
Hmm.
Now these 2 submarines have been built in China. They have been already delivered, commissioned. They are in operation. 6 will be built in Karachi.
Hmm.
Not from scratch, but at least they will be assembled. They already have some of the Augusta submarines with them, few of them, and Daphne. So, what even the Op Sindoor, let me just make one line mention, we can talk about it. Op Sindoor was not a war clash between India Pakistan. It was actually clash between India and China. Okay,
Hmm.
Pakistan is only a testing ground, right? And whenever the new weapon systems are in market for China, they will say that it is not battle tested. It is not your weapons. That's why the Chinese weapons generally people don't trust and they don't buy. But now what he does, because Pakistan is almost like its autonomous region, as I said. I know the Pakis don't like it when they troll me quite a lot. But it is a fact that you see what they have done. None of the battles are fought from GHQ and Rawalpindi.
Correct.
They're all fought from Western Theatre Command in Chandu. And they have a fiber optic cable where the ops rooms of all these services of Pakistan are replicated in Chandu. So they are all online and guiding them. Okay,
Hmm.
they are guiding them, and I say this
Tactically, sir.
very much, very much. They have a replica of the ops room. Otherwise, why should there be a direct fiber optic line between Rawalpindi GHQ and Western Theatre Command? Why? There is no reason. Just by talking and saying hello. In any case, you don't understand. Then none of the Pakistanis understand the language. So there is a full-fledged arrangement. They are embedded. In fact, you may recall that during the Galwan crisis, when the Chinese troops were being shown on and off by the satellite pictures, you found 1 or 2 Pakistani guys.
Hmm.
You recall that picture?
Yes,
What?
yes.
So, because the Pakistanis are okay in mountain warfare, because they are also present, near Siachen, they are present near Gilgit-Baltistan. So they have a little bit of idea, not as much as Indian Army, but they do have some idea of mountain warfare. And the Chinese require all these people, who are good in mountain warfare. So ये इन्होंने क्या किया है? They have created a sphere of influence, and they have created harbors, they have created jetties, they have taken them on long-term lease, or they have compelled them to give you on long-term lease. हम्बन टोटा हो गया, चैपकू हो गया, ग्वादर हो गया, जुबूती हो गया. तो उससे क्या होता है कि दे आर ऑल डुअल यूज फैसिलिटीज.
Hmm.
Because in the agreement you will not find the China says they will tell you it is for business and trade, and they will use it for warships. When you tell them why are you using warships, he said the agreement doesn't stop us from using warships. So this is they play on the thin line, or between the lines of the agreements, which people have become wiser now. But having said that, because they will not directly deal, but there is a possibility of the Chinese nuclear submarines legally being leased to Pakistan, It will fly under Pakistani flag with the Pakistani submarine officers, but the specialist of Chinese might remain on board because that is one asset which the Pakistanis don't have. But recently, I believe that Pakistani Navy issued some kind of statement of warning that Indian Navy should not get away with the idea that you are all superior. We can do everything that you can do. So that is probably a hint in that direction because don't say this openly. But I have a feeling that this is my gut feeling that this is a great possibility after they have made this statement. तो सेकेंड स्ट्राइक हो गया तो हमारा लड़ाई चाइना विल नॉट फाइट अ ओपन बैटल इन द इंडियन ओशन they will use Pakistan and they will test their weapon systems, for which we are quite well prepared. But then our preparation should not stop here. We should just keep upgrading ourselves as the time goes by, make it more technologically advanced, which we are. I think out of all three services, we're fairly advanced. Adi.
I mean, you made some very interesting points. I want to ask you one small question before I go to the next section. You said Chinese specialists on board of the submarines. Do you think right now जो अभी submarines इनके पास हैं, besides the problems उनके अंदर काफी जो report हो रही हैं, वो सब अलग छोड़ के, do you think अभी भी Chinese people are there in that?
देखिए इनका एक they have got a support team for every system they supply. They have a support team positioned in that country. ठीक है ना? And if there are problems with the systems, on the trial basis they will sail. They will tell you they're sailing on trial basis, but nothing stops them from sailing there for a little longer time. So I would say that now the diesel submarines, the Pakistanis are quite capable. They're good submariners. They're good officers, good professionals. They may not need them, and everybody has a little bit of pride of their own country. Even if it is an autonomous region, he considers himself a country. So I think that I would be surprised that if the nuclear submarine or the nuclear tipped missile has been fitted on the UN class submarines which they have given to Pakistan, they have a submarine launched cruise missile like we have. And nothing stops from that being a nuclear tipped. Something like, this Hath missile, Hath 1, Hath 2, all that. There can be nuclear. There are basically on tactical nuclear weapon category. So I wouldn't be surprised if they already have it. Otherwise, why was a need for them to make this statement? That is the point I'm making.
So interestingly, you're basically saying कि Pakistan, the Chinese are trying to make Pakistan into India's Ukraine. कि यार इनको फंसाओ, हम पीछे से लड़ेंगे और इनको लड़ाते रहो.
See, main issue with China is that they want to be the lead country of Asia. They don't
Asia.
want another tiger rising, which I'm sure everybody must have told. That must be your assessment as well.
Absolutely.
The point is that how do you keep India down? Now, economically, it has become the fastest growing country in the world. How do you keep India down?
A war.
Keep it, keep it engaged in activities in your vicinity. So that you're
Bangladesh,
not left with spare capacity to think about bigger things, And I'm in the process of writing an article that, India must keep focusing on its larger agenda of being a bigger
global power.
power. And don't get bogged down. These are all street wars for you. You must treat them as a street war.
Interesting, sir.
हाँ मोहल्ले में झगड़ा हो गया ठीक है पाकिस्तान कैन बी सॉर्टेड आउट ऑफ कोर्स
आपने शुरू में एक चीज बोली थी सर कि चाइना इंडियन ओशन के अंदर इतना स्ट्रेंथ नहीं है एंड दिस इज माय बैकयार्ड, दिस इज नॉट हिज बैकयार्ड. उसको यहाँ पर आने में बहुत टाइम लगेगा इन स्पाइट ऑफ द फैक्टर दैट 400 शिप्स हैं उसके पास.
जी
उसके अंदर भी काफी डिबेट है, उनका टनेज छोटा है, दिस एंड दैट, एंड द यूएस इज स्टिल सुप्रीम. सो आई एम नॉट गेटिंग इनटू दैट. सो द पॉइंट इज, सो अभी भी चाइना यहाँ पर आके स्नूपिंग करता है. They send their spy ships, they send their surveillance ships, they're allegedly mapping the Indian Ocean, which I kind of don't buy. seems to me as a communication ship of some sort with some submarines. So what is it that, how do we understand this? China kar raha hai is time pe. He's probably sending submarines under those ships, for covert missions and stuff like that. So how do you see this whole situation? What is he trying to do here?
Adiji, you've got a very, very valid question. Now, one thing I can say with great conviction that our maritime domain awareness, which
Sir.
includes the underwater domain awareness, is very robust. No warship can enter or exit Indian Ocean without the knowledge of Indian Navy. I know it's a very big statement to make, but
No, I mean, considering what the armed forces did in the air defense sector, sir, I kind of believe you.
Yeah, we have a maritime domain awareness center in Manesar.
Sure.
Where are you based? You're in Mysore.
Mysore, sir. But I know Gurgaon mein Indian Ocean Indian Ocean Awareness Center is
It
there,
is
sir.
open. You can go. There are 28, 29 countries are members of this. It is open. And some countries have their naval officers posted there, like UK, US, Australia, and some Oman. Some countries are already there.
Sir.
So anything which is entering through the choke points, there are 3-4 choke points on our east, which is Malacca Strait, Lombok Strait, Sunda Strait, and there's one more quite down below, which we'll talk about it later, which is called the Ombai Batar. Now these are they all belong to basically to Indonesia, except for Malacca Strait, which is falls in the Malaysian sort of territory, if you like. But there are international treaties, they can't just shut it down. Now, we have 24/7 what is called the mission-based deployment, meaning that either an Indian naval ship or an aircraft or a submarine or a combination remains present in 7 spots in the Indian Ocean, right? And that 7 spots obviously includes the choke points. And one on the west is the Gulf of Aden, what is Bab el Mandeb as it's called, and Straits of Hormuz. So we have already given you 4 or 5 now, and there are 2 more areas where we are present. Now their job is to keep reporting every contact that crosses these straits. Also, we have 2+2 intelligence sharing mechanism with many countries. US, Japan, France, Australia, and some more countries which are not in limelight. So in the 2+2, there is intelligence sharing, and obviously I would be strongly of the opinion that intelligence about the Chinese ships का ऊपर नीचे जो हो रहा है वो हमें पता रहता है. तो हम एक पिक्चर बनाते हैं Maritime Domain Awareness Center में, and that picture is shared by all ships and submarines and the partner countries. But I will only caution I will give is that these are only regarding merchant ships, what is called the white shipping. We exchange white shipping data. So that we know any contact which is painting on radar. White shipping data are known. You can track them. There are methods of tracking officially.
Yes,
if it is not a white shipping, if it is a contact which is not displaying that IMO number.
So elimination, and you know what is happening.
Whereas the countries with whom you have 2+2, you can get a fair deal as to who is where. Now, for doing a maritime war, you have to know who is where, and the ocean is too big.
Correct.
If you stand at Kanyakumari, you're looking at a diameter of roughly 3,000 kilometers and more. Okay. And we have to keep an eye on this. Earlier, we could not communicate with all our units in those areas. From 2013, the Navy has its dedicated communication satellite called GSAT-7. The GSAT-7 I could speak from my office as Commander in Chief to my ships, even in the Mediterranean, on phone, right? Though the officially it is so many kilometers, but it normally exceeds these parameters. So now we can talk, and we that is the line which is taken into MD also, the Maritime Domain Awareness. So we know who's where. So we keep a track. Number one. Secondly, why I said China cannot make it a homegrown. The ships require some kind of support. It requires fuel,
Mm-hmm.
it requires rations, it requires ammunition, because once you fire the missile, you have no place to carry. It is always in the launchers. Ships are very small. Ships are small. They're not very big. You can't hide the except for surface to air missiles, which is kept in the rotating loop in a magazine, and it keeps going round and round and keeps firing. As far as the surface to surface missiles are concerned, is you can't store, nor can you store torpedoes more than what is loaded in the submarine tubes. So they have to be supported. Or failures, it's a huge city. A ship is a huge city. You can use that electrical system to light up the whole city. Actually, light up city. So they tend to require some what we have
Maintenance.
periodic maintenance. Some are ship maintenance period. Some are assisted maintenance period.
Hmm.
And for long duration sustainability, these maintenances are needed.
Absolutely.
ऑयल डालना, इतनी सारी मशीनरी मूव कर रही हैं, यू रिक्वायर ग्रीस चाहिए, पेट्रोल चाहिए, पूरे टाइम इट्स लाइक अ फैक्ट्री विच इज़ रनिंग. उनको पानी भराते हैं फ्रेश वाटर को, उसके बाद उसको डिस्चार्ज करते हैं, जो बिल्जेस जो सैनिटरी वाली चीज़ें हैं वो सब निकलना है. तो देर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स विच रिक्वायर टू बी अटेंडेड बाई शोर. अनलेस यू हैव योर ओन हार्बर, यू कांट सपोर्ट. दूसरों के हार्बर में अब जैसे ग्वादर से, दैट इज हाउ दे हैव मेड अस बेस इन Djibouti. And that is what they will do in Gwadar, and I'm sure they would have done it by now. So this is because as they say that, far from home, I don't want to say the full sentence. So if they are far from home, supporting this for a sustained operation is very, very difficult from somebody else's harbor.
Hmm. Hmm.
Particularly the maintenance and requirement of smaller components which have to come from the manufacturer. And otherwise you'll have to make a big warehouse in all these places, which will become an easy target for an adversary to either sabotage it or attack it. The first thing you take out those things,
Hmm.
by air force or by aircraft carrier, you can take this out. So more number of bases you have away from home, you are giving a target on the platter to the Indian Navy.
Yep.
And Indian Navy doesn't have to send their Air Force aircraft to 2,000 miles, not required. You got an aircraft carrier, keep him outside missile ranges, his aircraft will go and do the job. Or you can go and launch the Marine Commandos in the quiet of night. They will go and do the needful. Covert operation is part of life. So the point is that is why I say that China will always. Now, Pakistan, why Pakistan is being armed to the teeth? If they have all Chinese equipment, the interoperability is proved. They have no problem. Not only interoperable, they are interchangeable, actually speaking. So in case some submarine develops some problem, they can easily give immediately one on lease. So I would say that China is overcoming all these by these kind of methods. लीज करो उनको, लीज पे दे दो, और लीज पे दे दो, एक दो अपने बंदे वहां रखो, जब तक वो पाकिस्तानी द प्रोफिशिएंट वॉरियर्स, नो डाउट अबाउट दैट. आफ्टर ऑल देयर सेम जीन्स एज आवर्स. So I think the situation is, I won't say that you're worried. We are concerned because our maneuvering space has become less. Earlier we were all, like Mr. Yusuf said he said in that हम तो बादशाह है Bay of Bengal के, he said, made some silly statement. So Arabian Sea was all ours, but now what will happen? You will be under constant monitoring. Now the Chinese submarines, yes, they come. you have these communication ships, or the ocean research ships as they call it. Now, primarily they are there to monitor whenever there is a missile firing, long range missile firing. You will find that they are hanging around in that
Mm.
area. Now, how do they get to know? That is because we have to issue a notices to mariner, no time. Just like you have no time for airmen. Similarly, notices to mariner is also called no time. And also there's another system called the nav area warning. The world is divided into navigation
So,
areas. Because at sea is being used for trade and commerce of the world, for
mm,
prosperity. 90% of ships at sea at any time are commercial ships.
yeah,
It is just 10% which are warships. So you don't have the liberty of hitting anyone and everyone. You can't just fire at anybody at 500 miles, 600 kilometers. You have to identify that chap, because you can't sink a tanker which had nothing to do with you, which was just coming doing pure trade with Gulf state. All the trading is through sea.
yeah.
So you will create a diplomatic hurdle for India, diplomatic war. You have such a good equation with everybody, except for these two countries and two three countries. We are at peace. Your Prime Minister Modi has such a tall stature in the world. He's the most, like 76% is the approval rate. And he's a respected leader. India's economy is doing well. We have already crossed, I think, $4 trillion the day before yesterday. I heard.
Officially, yes, sir.
But yeah, but that was a small figure, very small figure. I mean, not by very large amount, but technically, yes. And there's no doubt that we will become third largest economy. More than that, one would be keenly watching for it to cross 5 trillion. 5 trillion is a mark. Why I'm saying this? Only then you will have forex reserves of around 1 trillion. And having 1 trillion reserve is absolutely necessary for India to flex its muscle, right? Right now we are at 670, $680 billion or something like that. So we still have some distance to go, about 320, $340 billion. So when it becomes 1 trillion reserve, forex reserve, then you will have more room to maneuver
Yeah,
outright purchase, because we till such time, unfortunately, it is in the aviation sector that our indigenization has been the least.
mm,
100 reasons we can talk privately later on. So the issue is, till then you will have to depend on import. Fortunately for us, the missiles we have started making here,
yeah.
almost all missiles, except for some specific missiles which are on the aircraft platforms. That is where we are weak, aircraft manufacturing. And the world, particularly bigger powers, they will squeeze you in this. They will never part with the key technology as far as jet engines are concerned. They will not. There is something called the uh, blade polishing and blade fining in
Right.
the compressor blade and turbine blades, which they use, is made of diamond and a very high grade
Crystal
diamond.
clear. Yes, sir. Yes,
So
sir.
which nobody is willing to part. Why we didn't learn? Straightforward reason. When the industrial revolution took place, we were गुलाम. हम तो भारतवर्ष गुलाम था. अंग्रेजों ने बहुत कुछ दिया हमें, लेकिन ये इंडस्ट्रियल रेवोल्यूशन का फायदा हमें नहीं दिया. आपने पढ़ा होगा इतिहास की किताबों में, यहाँ से रुई कॉटन जाती थी लैंकाशायर, वहाँ से कपड़े बना के लाके हम ही को बेचते थे वो. लेकिन वो उसकी हमें टेक्निक नहीं दे सके जिससे कि हम कपड़े बना सके. And India, in a vengeance, now we're exporting bloody clothes to the whole world, including to United Kingdom. So ये हमारा जब back wall के against में होता है, then we work very well. So that is what China's maritime issue is concerned. Sorry,
सर नाउ इसको पुश बैक कैसे करें सर? बिकॉज चाइना के पास वनरेबिलिटीज बहुत है. व्हेन आई लुक एट चाइनीज मैप, आई मीन हमारा जो एक्सेस है ओशन पे, इट्स ओपन, वाइड ओपन, कोई नहीं है आसपास. And our ocean holding is also ocean that we've got is also massive. I mean, no country actually controls that size of ocean.
Yeah, yeah.
Plus, जो बोलते हैं ना द एक सुपर पावर बनने के लिए एक टू ओशन पॉलिसी होनी चाहिए आपके पास. हमारे पास तो पूरा अपना ओशन है, तो you have that going for you. So China has some vulnerabilities. Malacca Strait के बारे में लोग बात करते हैं and this and that, but that's a global commons. So 2-3 points. One, I'm really amazed to know about the submarine detection system. In addition to the factor that ये लोग वो straits में से आते हैं, तो I'm sure we are able to detect them. Now, how do we counter this? What should be the geopolitical move, आपके diplomatic move, military move, जहां पर आप neighboring countries के साथ, larger powers के साथ, Indian Ocean, Quad, whole sorts of things जो हम कर रहे हैं, how do we now create a strategy कि हमको ये पता है कि now China is fighting a proxy war with us. It's as simple as that. So how do we
True.
now take it to the next level where China को अब दर्द हो and he should think जिस तरह से भाई पाकिस्तान सोचेगा अगली बारी कुछ करने से, how do we put that cost to China? Because currently we've not.
Aside that, the punishment we have given to Chinese this time, to the Pakistani, I think our strategy of punishment it works.
Yeah.
और now that प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने बिल्कुल clear, this is the first time we have such a strong leadership.
And clear policy.
Yeah, and clear policy. Of course, Mrs. Gandhi के time में भी very strong policies थी, but it was only for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
But now it is the policy, one terror attack and we'll treat this as a war. And we'll get inside your, by hook or crook, we'll get inside your territory and we'll hit you. So that's a very good policy. At least one country will be very careful. Now with the Chinese, my own whatever little experience I have with them, with their think tanks, with their whatever high ranking, every time that I have spoken either in China or with the Chinese on a webinar, they have always asked me this question, including from state councillor who was a boundary negotiator, Mr. Dai Bingu. Dai Bingu, he asked me not once, twice. He said, Admiral, you people keep saying Quad does not have any military intention. Because your charter doesn't, it just talks about maritime security, but that could be for human assistance and disaster relief and all that. That's security. That's a peacetime security. When will it become a wartime security? And my impromptu reply to him, I didn't know he will ask this question. I said, Excellency, it depends on China. So he was taken aback. He didn't know what hit him. I said, it all depends on you, that when will Quad become an operational fighting unit? Because we already have a platform called Malabar.
Yeah.
Same four countries practice very complex naval combat methods. We have standard operating procedures. And we operate not only in Indian Ocean, we start in Indian Ocean. The last 2-3 exercises taken place in South China Sea.
Australia, South China Sea, Japan.
Yeah. Japan, Okinawa, very much next door. So now this they will ask you every time. Now their fight is not with India. These are all needle prick. Their actual fight is with the US.
Correct.
They want to replace the US from the top slot of the world. Unfortunately, India is a hurdle in route. Right? In the South China Sea, he has got complete dominance. He will saturate the US Navy. Okay, that is why he's creating numbers. And whatever he's creating is to break free from the first island chain. Okay.
Taiwan.
And that is why Taiwan is important.
Hmm.
Taiwan is a hurdle for him to break out into first island chain. That's the easiest passage through which he can get out into the Pacific. Otherwise, others are difficult. He got Japan, he's got Philippines, he's got US base in Japan. So it is little bit hard work for him. Whereas through Taiwan, it is easy work. And that is why for him to take Taiwan is very important. Now, if he has to break free from first silent chain, whatever development he is doing, either a drone warfare or aircraft carrier or ship, he's making destroyers like, producing bloody vegetables. एक साल में 8 जहाज बना रहा है, 9 जहाज बना रहा है. I mean, हद होती है. And and that is why I say that, we have 6-7 years of time before he can free the aircraft carrier and he can come with full armada into Indian Ocean. Then it can be little more than concerning. It can be worrying because then we will be one-to-one with them. However, China follows Sun Tzu very religiously. Win a war without fighting. That's exactly what he did before Sindoor.
Yeah.
He has fought a war with you. He's tested his weapon system, but उसके हाथ गीले नहीं हुए. कहेगा भाई आप भी तो खरीद रहे हो फ्रांस से, आप भी तो खरीद रहे हो रशिया से, हमको क्यों बोल रहे हो? अगर पाकिस्तान खरीद रहा है हमसे तो मैं बेच रहा हूँ, पैसे मिल रहे हैं हमको, पैसे मिल रहे हैं कि नहीं तो भगवान मालिक है, लेकिन बोल तो रहा है. तो इसलिए हम उसमें थोड़े उतने सॉलिड ग्राउंड में नहीं हो सकते. तो ये एक चीज हमको याद रखना होगा कि उनकी वल्नरेबिलिटी जो है, एक तो डिप्लोमेटिक वल्नरेबिलिटी, वी हैव टू कीप आवर नेबरहुड विद अस so that their harbors are not being used for a dual use. ठीक है, तो वो थोड़ा मुश्किल है because as I said, important for us to have 5 trillion economy and 1 trillion is foreign reserve. Only then you can help them financially with freedom. Right now you have a restriction. You require that foreign currency for your own needs because you should be able to last out even if there are sanctions, etc., etc. You have the capability of buying. So all that calculation goes on around the clock. That if we have to buy whatever we are buying from outside weapon systems, what we have, how many days can we buy with this foreign exchange that we have? This is the challenge to the economists. And finance ministry and defense ministry are fully into this. Right? So unless we have that, China has very deep pockets. No, nothing hidden. 5 times bigger economy.
Yeah.
He has a lot of spare money to give it to this fellow. If it doesn't work out by giving a loan, they bribe the head of state. Everybody shouldn't be saying, but it's not that I'm saying of it.
अंकल भाभी सबको ब्राइब कर देते हैं वो तो आके.
आपको कभी हमारी मुलाकात होगी, चाहे अकेले में मिलेंगे तो आपको बताएंगे. We are not saying with out of the just hat. I was chief of integrated defense staff, IDS headquarters for 3.5 years, where the defense intelligence was part of me. So we have fair amount of input on that, and उसकी कहानी फिर कभी बात नहीं करेंगे. ओपन चैनल में थोड़ा मुश्किल है वो. तो ये हमें करना होगा, अपने दोस्त बनाने होंगे. चाइना के साथ हमें विजिबल फाइट नहीं लेना चाहिए. आप तैयारी करो, रेडी रहो कि तुम्हारा दोस्त नहीं बन सकता है, बट यू शुड हैव फेयरली गुड डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशन विद चाइना. माय व्यू, people to people, you have all the what is called the security guardrails. You can have security guardrails, but you have to sensitize people here that उनकी ज़्यादा penetration हमारे लिए long term के लिए damage हो सकता है. Because particularly you have to tell the business people, because now they buy cheap electronic items, they put it here, and all of them have dual use. All of them can be shut down by cyber. It's an artificial intelligence, both embedded on the cyber now. So ये तो वो बहुत ज़रूरी है. दूसरा है कि हमें चाइना के साथ जो है ना वो देखिए, जब आपका ये इतना लंबा बॉर्डर है तो ये चाइना पाकिस्तान बॉर्डर नहीं है, हमारा एक ही बॉर्डर है. आपका एडवर्सरी एक ही है चाइना. चाहे आप अटारी बॉर्डर से लेके फायर करो, चाहे आप चले जाओ उधर लुंगले तक, सेम एक ही है. आप उन्हीं के इक्विपमेंट से फाइट कर रहे हो. तो हमको चाइनीज के साथ एटलीस्ट ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना जरूरी है डिप्लोमेटिकली, दैट लेट अस ग्रो टुगेदर. You grow, you wanting to replace bloody US, go ahead. I will not become a hurdle. But you don't become a hurdle in my progress as well. And this is a hurdle, which I think possibly in MEA, I mean, we have a diplomat, foreign minister, external affairs minister, he's a career diplomat. So I think they all understand, and he's been our ambassador to China also. So it's we shouldn't be doing to damage our relations by making some pronouncements openly, particularly by politicians. Okay, we are track two and we are sort of phased out and spent force in the armed forces. But I can say that the preparation should not only be to take on Pakistan. You please consider that Pakistan Navy वो नहीं है, वो Chinese Navy है जिसके साथ तुम लड़ोगे. वो तो ऑफेंसिव ले लेगा. चाइना को तो प्रॉब्लम है, लेकिन पाकिस्तान को प्रॉब्लम नहीं, उसका हार्बर तो यहीं पे है ना. तो हमें उनको बॉटल करके रखना पड़ेगा उनके हार्बर्स में. We have to make sure that the Karachi harbor, Ormara harbor, Gwadar harbor, nobody leaves harbor or nobody enters harbor without the possibility of getting interdicted by India. इसका मतलब है कि अभी हमारी सबमरीन फोर्स बढ़ रही है, यूज करो. There's a stealth force, not visible. Don't, what we say in Navy, we say keep your powder dry. ऐसा रखो कि बिकॉज अब जैसे आर्मी में दे कहते हैं नो व्हाट वाज दैट कोल्ड स्ट्रेटेजी, समथिंग इट वाज कॉल्ड दोस डेज, कोल्ड वॉर स्टार्ट और some name they had given.
Cold start.
So meaning that I have to move troops, I have to move a division, I have to move a strike corps or something. Until then, the pivot corps only handles, keeps them tied up. Pivot corps also has a lot of job. Since IDS headquarters days, I was fortunate to learn much about army operations and air operation. Being a pilot, we are almost like cousin sisters with the Air Force. So there's not. We know at our equivalent and we have good equation to pick up the phone. Hey, वे जहाज दे दो, सुन यार इधर उनको भेज दो, मिराज 2000 को भेज दो. That is how it normally turns out. They're all Coastmates, you see.
Yeah.
So at every level there are Coastmates, and it works. Organizational very differences. No, everybody mark his own turf, every service, and they have the right to do so. But by and large, at working level, it is हो जाता है काम. So I think that our the open combat, we should have a good diplomatic equation with China and have a very good understanding. Okay, agreement is one piece of paper which Chinese are very good at throwing out that any agreement. You have seen what has happened. So उनके साथ ये होना चाहिए कि देखो ऐसा है, I will make sure that I don't become your problem in Indian Ocean. Right? And you sort out this. You sort out my land border. I don't want you to be fighting with me, nor your autonomous region which you have next door. उसको भी मना करके रखो, नहीं तो उसको तो हम डिस्ट्रॉय कर ही देंगे. बट तुम उनको ये आग मत लगाओ. Fortunately, I think the MEA has made a statement 2-3 days back, both regarding Turkey and China. And I think Turkey has apologized now. So they have made a statement, MEA, that, China and Turkey, it's a request that kindly don't arm this state, which is a terrorist state. And in fact, I wrote an article sometime back in First Post. I don't write very often. I've just written that in Pakistan, if you want to sort out Pakistan, it's gradually imploding. You can see what is happening in Pakhtunkhwa, TTP. You are seeing Balochistan. So I have been of the view that we should do diplomatically whatever is required to facilitate that implosion.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
have
absolutely,
been,
sir. I love it.
yeah,
Absolutely.
but I have
Unknown
been of
gunmen
this
zindabad.
views. I've been with this view of since 1989.
Sir,
So
absolutely.
I mean that is why when I was the operational jobs I did, my seniors used to say, "यार उसको in charge बना रहे हो तो और करवा देगा." So that was the kind of. But anyway, I'm sure the government knows what they're doing. They're fully clutched in.
Sir,
And now you can see that what they're doing in Bangladesh, what they're doing in Myanmar, that's another area,
challenge.
new area of worry. That's why, as far as neighborhood concerns are there, China will always keep you tied down.
Sir,
So that but this understanding we must reach with China very quickly.
how do we tie him down in his neighborhood, sir?
How do we tie him down?
Hmm. Sell weapons.
No, his neighborhood.
Hmm.
तिब्बत को फ्री करवा दो. हमारा बॉर्डर चाइना के साथ तो है नहीं, हमारा बॉर्डर तो तिब्बत के साथ है.
ये जो फिलीपींस, इंडोनेशिया, वियतनाम को हम
कर
ब्रह्मोस
ही
बेच रहे हैं,
रहे हैं, बेच रहे हैं. वियतनाम थोड़ा केयरफुल है बिकॉज वो दो डबल गेम खेलता है वो.
कम्युनिस्ट.
हाँ, वियतनाम से समथिंग. वियतनाम विल ऑलवेज वांट टू somebody else to fight his war.
Hmm.
They will not raise arms against China. You take my word.
एक बार ही किया, उसके बाद दोबारा नहीं करेंगे.
पिट गए ना. पिट गए. स्प्रेटली आइलैंड में तो मार के दे हैंडेड ओवर दैट बड़ी आइलैंड.
हाँ, स्प्रैटली में मार खाई, 79 में पीटा था.
बस उसके बाद हुआ का झगड़ा था उसके बाद.
Hmm.
That's why their statements are very guarded.
For me, sir, Taiwan, पता नहीं. I've got into almost a diplomatic incident with Taiwan क्योंकि मैंने काफी कुछ बोल दिया था. When they said कि भाई ताइवान इंडिया फ्रेंडशिप, मैं बोला यार एक काम करो, फ्रेंडशिप ठीक है, अपना मैप चेंज कर लो. प्लीज रिमूव योर क्लेम्स ऑफ अरुणाचल प्रदेश, लद्दाख. मैं अपनी पूरी जी जान लगा दूंगा. हर वीडियो से पहले मैं बोलूंगा ताइवान इज एन इंडिपेंडेंट कंट्री. सो मेरी फोटो इतनी बड़ी चिपका के, कितना बड़ा न्यूज़पेपर आर्टिकल, ये वो, यहाँ पर भी काफी फोन बजे. तो वो सब हुआ था कि व्हाई इज ही टॉकिंग लाइक दिस. व्हेन पीपल कॉल्ड मी अप, आई सेड यार उनको बोलो अपने वेबसाइट पे मैप निकालो ना यार. They very officially claim Ladakh as their own. So let them take it out. Why should I support a country? But sir, that's my ideal, emotional position. There are always gray zones. How do we, my last question to you is, how do we kind of figure this out? Because to me, China will do something in Taiwan very soon. कुछ ना कुछ बेवकूफी करेगा वो. It seems like it.
देखिए, एक तो बिकॉज हमारा डिप्लोमेटिक रिलेशन नहीं है to do anything openly. I am glad that now the government does not talk about one China policy
One
very
China.
often.
Yeah.
आजकल नहीं बोलते हैं वो. So when you say one China policy, Taiwan, Tibet, all these are included. But there can be done. A lot of things can be done. Hopefully, being done. Hopefully that. I don't know what the long time since I left. It's almost 11 years. So there is a lot we can do. We can help Taiwan in developing some of their defense industry in which we have expertise. Help them. Now, you see, they have got some agreement by which some 10,000 or something Indians are their skilled workers because they also have aging population. They have a similar problem as
It's terrible.
PRC. So they are already started and they are going. So we can have display of skill development in those sectors also. जहाँ पे स्किल वाले लोगों को भेज रहे हैं ना, स्किल तो किसी भी सेक्टर में हो सकता है, तो उनको हम मदद कर सकते हैं. कुछ चीज़ें हैं जो उनको चाहिए. हम जिस क्षेत्र में उनका बहुत आगे नहीं बढ़ा हुआ है टेक्नोलॉजी, तो वी कैन ट्राई एंड हेल्प देम. सबमरीन बना रहे हैं वो अपना, तो दैट इज़ वन एरिया. सब लॉन्च्ड मिसाइल, टॉर्पिडो डिकॉय सिस्टम्स, इंटेलिजेंस शेयरिंग. दूसरा एक बहुत है जो कि Unfortunately, I brought it to very close to fructifying, but didn't happen because of COVID.
Ah.
So I'd retired. I was not in service. So what we have a trade relation with Taiwan. I think it's $8 or $9 billion right now. But the aim is to take it to some $20 billion by 2030.
Yeah.
Now, the Navy or the ships, the maritime domain, we don't only follow the UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on Laws of the Sea. There is something called IMO regulations, International Maritime Organization, right? Now, IMO regulation permits you. I mean, it's like difference between act and law. Act is a overarching thing. Then you make laws, तो कानून बनते हैं. Then you have some directives issued कि ऐसे करो वैसे करो. So ये एक possibility हम लोगों ने explore किया है पहले. The trade between two countries is completely commercial, right? If it is going to become from $8-9 billion now to 20 billion by 2030, protection of trade is one of the requirements which IMO says that two business partners, two trading partners can have some arrangement of security. Now, so suggestion that I've written somewhere also some time back, that the merchant ships coming out of Taiwan for India, they should be accompanied with their navy or their coast guard ships up to Malacca Strait, right? And our ship, our warship or coast guard ship, should take over the security part from outside Malacca Strait into Indian Ocean to various ports of India. Now, this provision exists in IMO regulation. Now, I'll go one further, and this is important. It has many sort of derivations can take place. That these two trading partners, I'm not calling it countries by very specifically because Taiwan is not recognized diplomatically, so we can't call it a country diplomatically. So they can develop their standard operating procedures, how they will protect. And therefore, to develop the SOPs, you have to have an exercise. Between whom? Between the two security services. Okay? So it gives you that leeway. And I feel that under this, we could have an exchange of initially Coast Guard, then naval warriors. They have a proper navy. Taiwan Navy is very strong. And we can have exercises so that we can work out some SOPs for, shall I say, more complex exercises, to put it in diplomatic terms. So this is one possibility which, as I said, regrettably, otherwise it would have got done in 2020. It would have made headlines, but it would have done. Even now, it is not difficult. I can start writing. That it is time with so much happening. We provide. There is one operative word. It's called safe and timely arrival of public goods. That is the operative word in IMO. So this is under that safe and timely arrival. Now there are two components to this. For safe arrival, you need to have safety features, and peacetime, what is called the non-traditional threats, is what we are handling. And when you handle non-traditional threats, you actually require warships, anti-piracy, anti-human trafficking, anti-drug. All that is part of human assistance, disaster relief. Then you have search and rescue, firefighting at sea. All this can happen because of a missile attack, while it can also happen by piracy attack. So there is a the navies are generally into gray zone warfare for a long time.
Correct.
Every damn warfare is gray zone. खुला हुआ war ने क्योंकि you never see the adversary. Missiles you will fire from 300 miles, 200 miles. देखते तो ship तो देख के fighting नहीं होती है ना. All fighting is technical. So you have to, and that is why this maritime domain awareness becomes important. You should know who's where and you have the ability to track. Fortunately for us at sea, the ships don't move at 400 knots, right? Unlike fighter aircraft. So you're moving at 20, 25 maximum. So once you have spotted him in one of these choke points, it will take a few days to reach somewhere.
It's easy to
And
track that.
yeah. And if he becomes a threat to your land mass, territorial integrity, well, you draw a circle of 500 kilometers and make sure that this chap before he enters, usko sort out kar do. Not let him enter in wartime. And that is why he's got these agreements with the neighboring countries. और नेबरिंग कंट्री को फुल हार्टेड सपोर्ट करने के लिए पैसे चाहिए और पैसे होने के लिए हमारी
इकोनॉमी चाहिए.
रिजर्व होनी चाहिए 1 ट्रिलियन और 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमी हो जाए देन विल बी अ डिफरेंट कंट्री.
Oh, that's an insight, sir. I'm going to take that back. Please, sir, you wanted to say something?
No, what I'm saying, the navies normally,
Sir,
सी लेन्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन प्रोटेक्ट करना नेवी का सबसे बड़ा काम है. प्रोटेक्ट सी लेन्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन सो दैट आवर ट्रेड एंड द वर्ल्ड ट्रेड इट डज नॉट गेट इम्पीडेड. इज द टास्क ऑफ आवर नेवी. दैट इज व्हाई यू सॉ जब हुथीज अटैक चल रहे थे तो हमने जितने शिप्स को बचाया हाईजैकिंग से और जितने शिप्स को हमने असिस्ट किया, none of them were Indian flag ships.
Correct. Most of them are abroad. So, yes, sir.
सब बाहर के.
We even saved Pakistanis.
तो पाकिस्तानी उनको हमने घर भी भेजा. तो ये जो एक वसुधैव कुटुंबकम का जो है प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी का थ्योरी, that is practiced best at sea and it has been practiced always. Because helping a ship in distress is the moral duty of every seafarer.
We did that yesterday, sir, with that commercial ship. Although the ship sank,
yeah,
but all the people we've rescued.
Yeah. That is our primary, humanitarian ground. That is why there was some talk, Indian Navy ships have bloody dropped the Rohingyas into the sea. I don't buy this. It just cannot do it. Indian Navy का ethos ही नहीं है, सवाल ही नहीं होता. Never. हम जान बचाते हैं, हम गोली मार देंगे, लेकिन हम तुमको समंदर से उठा भी लेंगे.
समुद्र से उठा के जमीन पे लाके खाना वाना रख के फिर गोली मारेंगे तुमको.
नहीं, तुमको घर भेज देंगे. हम तुमको घर भेज देंगे, जाओ. तुम्हारा हमने प्लेटफॉर्म पे डाउन कर.
Yes. Jokes apart. I mean, thank you, sir. This was absolutely an eye opener. I mean, I as you said at the beginning, I hope this not to be the first and not to be the last. This is a beautiful discussion, and I'm sure audience will also love it. क्योंकि नेवी के बारे में sir and maritime
कम सुनते हैं.
With
you, it is my first one, yes, but I hope it is not the last one.
Absolutely not, sir.
Navies, Adiji, navies fight a silent war because you're not silent. Out of sight, out of mind हो जाता है.
There was an article in Hindustan Times. Shishir Gupta has written this, where he said 10th May could have been the Indian Navy's day. मैं बोला, oh my God, that people would have felt really bad. कि क्या यार बंद कर दिया.
Yeah. I mean, I believe so that it it should have been, and it should have. Anyway, but governments know better. It's a political and diplomatic decision, and we have to.
I'm sure Karachi will be lit up again.
We are a democracy. Yeah, we are a democracy, and we can't. You see, there are a lot of things politically not suitable. Don't forget that technology we still have to import. We still get it from US, Israel, and don't create something which is going to put our partners into difficulty. That is diplomacy.
That's this.
Because after all, I just mentioned to you that Quad can become operational, moment when China wants. So the pin drop silence. And many years later, he asked me the same thing on a webinar just last year. And I told him the same thing. So Daiming Gu started laughing. He said, Chinese में बोला उसने, he said, see, I am 80 years plus. I said, Excellency Counselor, you live 100 plus years, because for last 15 years I've been hearing that you have become 80 years. So you're already 90 as far as I am concerned. The last time I heard from you, you said I'm 80 years, and that was 10 years ago. So we also joke. I mean, they are just like any other human being.
Yeah. I know. I mean,
People are not bad. People are nice. They're just like any other Asian. They are hospitable. This is a very small percent. These are basically the very communist party which is at level.
correct, sir. Yeah, they're a little weird. Thank you so much, sir. This was an eye opener, and thank you for spending the time with me. And I'm
Very
gonna
much. God bless and do more.
absolutely, sir. Namaskar, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, audience. One of the biggest episodes on Navy. Please share it. Let people know what our Navy does. And इसके ऊपर आगे भी बात हम करते रहेंगे. जय हिंद, जय भारत.
धन्यवाद. Thank you.